Good afternoon, guys. How you doing? Let me say welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. The program is produced by Breakthrough TV. I am Carl. Let me say thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, this is a live stream. I want to say we wasn't here last week, but it wasn't because it wasn't hot. We was busy. But sometimes that's the way things goes, you know what I mean? It's not that we was busy to, do the program. It's just sometimes you get caught up in all sorts of different things. So we wasn't able to broadcast last week. Let me say, I said thank you for joining the program, yeah. And big shout out to all you guys who tune into the program. And so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I want to say thanks to, Sister Marcia Williams. Sister Marcia Williams was on our last program, and she actually had this wonderful book, A Touch of Frost, which is absolutely marvelous. Go and check that book out. She did a wonderful interview with us and tell us how the troubles on the things she actually gone through. And I said troubles because I know she'll be hitting at me and says, Carl, I've never gone through any trouble. Because she's such a positive lady, and that's the kind of thing she actually will actually say. Let me say also, don't forget, at the Legacy Center of Excellence, check out Miss Culture Jam down there with the open mic fever, and that is actually on tonight. So big shout out to you, Miss Culture Jam. Hope all is well with you. And all you guys who stage different events around Birmingham, let me say a big shout out to you. But if you don't tell us, we don't know. That's what I'm going to say. If you don't tell us what's going on, we don't know. You know what I mean? If you don't come knocking on our door, we can't talk about it. So we can't put it out there. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I got to tell you, I got a wonderful guest in my studio today. I've got wonderful, beautiful Siobhan. How you doing, Siobhan?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Hey, everyone.
How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been productive, full of meetings, but that's the way that I like it.
Let me say welcome to Breakthrough TV.
Thanks for having me.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've got a business.
You got a business?
My business Inspiradol, so
Yes.
that keeps me busy a lot of the time.
Okay. And what's that about?
So it's a doll business.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a black doll, a Muslim doll, a Chinese doll, and a white doll.
Okay.
And they're all best friends.
All right.
So we launched the business last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just been keeping me busy.
How's it doing?
It's doing good. We were in Tesco's the other day. We were
Okay.
doing like a little pop-up store in Tesco's.
Marvellous. What inspired you to do that?
Actually, my niece inspired me.
Marvellous.
Yeah, so my niece who the black doll is actually named after. So we named the black doll Naya after my niece.
Okay.
When Naya was 5, she confided in me that she wanted to be white.
Wow.
And she is not white.
Wow.
So that was a problem. And I just felt like as her auntie, I had to empower her and let her know, she's beautiful just the way that she is.
Mm.
And that's how my business started, really, just wanting to inspire her.
I was going to say, how did you find out when she says she was white or whatever, she didn't like being, could you say she didn't like being
Black?
what I call British African Caribbean, Nubian, what I call Nubian, yeah.
Yeah, you know how it made me feel? It was really sad because she was only 5. So I don't think children should even have those type of insecurities
That's right.
at such a young age.
Yeah.
So it was a massive problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, let me ask you then, it's been hot, so you've been finding the weather?
You know what? I enjoy it,
You enjoy
and I
it.
shouldn't complain.
What you're gonna complain?
You know I'm going to complain because in England we don't normally get nice hot weather.
Yeah.
But I think a little breeze never hurt nobody.
No. Well,
It's a bit humid.
I think last night it was actually very windy, and I think there was a thunderstorm. I never hear it because I was sleeping, but I heard it was actually a thunderstorm last night. And I think a couple of nights this week there have been thunderstorms.
Yes, not in the day though.
But
not in the day. In the day it's like a desert.
Yeah, I know. I got to tell you, I don't like thunderstorms. I can remember a story my mother tell me because we originally came from Jamaica, so my family and everybody's in Jamaica, and I can remember a story my mother actually told me. And my mother was sort of terrified of lightning and thunder, and she was telling me I think she was in a storm once, and the lightning literally picks her up off the ground.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And from wherever I am and wherever I am in the world, you know what I mean? If I wasn't at home, if I wasn't around my mother, wherever I was, I'll get always worried when I see lightning and thunder, and that's how it shows me. And if when I go to a house and that's something, I'll never leave the house until it's actually finished. I know it's crazy, but as I say, she could never stand it. I said, Mom, I used to say, you'll be fine, Mom.
She's traumatized. The lightning traumatized.
I know, God rest her soul. She's no longer with us. She's telling me, she's thinking, oh God, that guy's having to go at me now. No, but she wasn't like that. Anyway, as you know, guys, I always look at a few things that is happening. We got a lot of things to want to talk about. I want to talk about relationships as well and people who cheat. Actually, they say I came across this survey. Say 1 in 4 people actually cheats in their marriage or on their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their husband. You know what I mean? So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later on in my rant. I also want to talk about Mr. Boris Johnson. I'm gonna open the story about Boris Johnson now, but I also want to talk about him in my rant as well because this is a guy who had it all, and he literally tore it up the wall. I gotta say, he literally, can I say, a piece up the wall?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a guy who had I gotta say, the report, as you know, Boris Johnson being in the news, and the report has actually came about, that endorse, you know, the report that he actually lied to the Commons, you know what I mean, and he lies to people in Parliament, you know what I mean, about the lockdown party, you know what I mean? And while all of us was out here, you know what I mean, doing what we do, you know what I mean?
Social distancing.
Following his rules.
Being locked down.
And all that sort of stuff. They was actually having a party. And then, instead of he had the nerve to say, listen, okay, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have done it. He lied about it. And that sort of thing. What do you think?
Do you know what? It kind of reminds me of the other guy, Matt. Was it Matt?
Max, go on.
Matt? I'm not sure, but he.
Matt Hancock.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
Matt
he
Hancock.
caught
Well,
cheating on his wife when it was lockdown.
Yes, he's a part of the same government.
Yeah.
And we're not having a go at the government. It's the reality of what's out there.
We should, because it's so hypocritical. You know, they're making all these rules, all these laws for us citizens to abide by, and they're not abiding by their own rules.
I know, yeah.
So it's just a little bit hypocritical, really.
Hypocritical. And there's actually another story because at the same time, police are still investigating that there was some of the staff was actually having what we call, I think it was about Christmas. There was I've never heard this name before. Jingle the Mingle Party.
Okay, I can only imagine what that is.
The Jingle the Mingle Party. So the police are actually investigating that as well. You know what I mean? Which is actually, I don't know. But I'm gonna have a go at this because this, as I said, this is a guy who actually had the power. He had it right in his hand. And he didn't even stay in power for say 4 years, 2 years, you know what I mean? When they had one of the biggest majority in this country. So he literally what we call piss it up the wall.
Well, you know what, I think his personality, before he actually became Prime Minister, he was always kind of seen as a bit goofy and, you know, not really taken seriously. I think for me, he became Prime Minister off of his name.
Yeah.
It was because of, you know, he was born into that kind of world, I guess.
I understand that, but apparently he was a very good London mayor. A lot of people, because he was the mayor of London before he became Prime Minister, and he was supposed to be a very good mayor.
The Boris bite.
The Boris bike.
Goodness.
And let me move on because there's another story which is very, very serious, and this is in Uganda, and officers says at least 41 people have died in a massacre in Uganda, and a lot of these people are just pupils. They're actually students, you know what I mean. And the families have actually started to bury these people, you know what I mean. And they say the group that actually done it is sort of linked with the IS, you know what I mean, group, you know what I mean. You know what IS is? ISIS, I should say, the ISIS group. So they actually news are coming out that they actually the people who actually committed the massacre is actually linked with this group. And once again, we see terrible things like that happens. And as I say, I know it always gets me when we see young people and they're doing this thing, young people, you know what I mean? And what we call children and students and young people. And that also troubles me very, very, very bad, you know what I mean? And so sometimes they say you shouldn't make your emotional shows and what you're doing in broadcast. But this is not Sky, this is not CNN, this is not BBC. So we can actually do that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's sad when you see actually things like that happens, you know what I mean? And you see, you know, children and pupils and students, you know, getting murdered, which is absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe to Brookcom. Now let me put my glasses on for a minute. Now, also let me move on to my next story. My next story is like story number 3. Now, 4 males has been arrested and suspected attempted murder. And this happened in Southampton over the weekend. A 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and an 18-year-old. A 60-year-old man was actually injured. And as I say, it's another one where we see actually people getting murdered and getting involved in knife crime and all the rest of it. You know what I mean? Also, there's also coming into the news today actually, just before we came in here, 3 people had been injured, including the suspect. And this happened in a Middlesex hospital in London, in central London. And as I said, that was just like coming into the news just as we come on the air. Stabbing. Talk to me about stabbing.
It's really unfortunate, to be honest. I think, you know, it's taken over young people. It's just nobody fist fights anymore. It's like they just draw for the weapon. What happened to fist? Just a good old punch up, you know, get it out your system. Not that I'm not saying that it's good. I'm not endorsing violence.
Yeah.
But you know, I'd rather have a punch than a stab.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know.
And the stabbing thing is just getting so ridiculous and ridiculous and ridiculous, and it's just getting more.
Yeah.
And I know they talk about they have all these bins that they put on the street to put their knives in. You know what I mean? But it still happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It still happens.
Do you know what I think?
Yeah.
It's a lot of ego as well.
Is it?
Yeah, 'cause I think, you know, young people nowadays, you'll go out and you can just smile at them the wrong way some of the time, and it's like, what's the
You
problem?
know, you got a point there. You know, you got a point there. I mean, a couple of days ago, actually, there was this guy. I had been in the recreation area, what I call, because I do a lot of recreation things, and I've gone into the recreation area, and I jumped back into my car, and I just sit in the car. I'm just sitting in the car having a drink, and this guy just walk up by the side of my car, and he just looks at me, and he said, "What are you looking at?" I said, "I wasn't looking at you." I said, "I'm minding my own business." And he just standing there and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and then he move on. But the other thing as well, after I started looking at it and thinking, I think maybe he might have had mental
Okay.
issues, you know what I mean,
Right.
or mental problems. But that can be so intimidating.
Yeah.
And if I was somebody else, you know what I mean,
It could have gone.
I could have really
Yeah,
engaged
it
him, and
could have gone
something
way worse.
and something serious could have happened. You know, so it's just one of those sort of crazy things that you see sometimes, and you don't know where it's happening. I know the government and the community say they've done so much about knife crime, and even the police. You know what I mean? And I just say I don't know where it's going to stop or where it's, you know what I mean, where.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is the solution? I saw the government had a report, I think it was last week or this week, coming out that they're going to be more stop and search. You know what I mean? And then the people say it's going to affect the Nubian community or the Nubian
Of
people, because it's
course.
always targets.
I don't know how I feel about
it's
that.
always targets more the Nubian people.
No, I definitely agree.
Are the more people of skin color
'Cause
than the rest.
There's a lot of racial bias.
Exactly,
in the
all the
police
time,
force.
all the
So,
time.
You know, I just think it's going to heighten the injustice that's already there for our black brothers.
Yeah, yes, and I say it is just another. This is just another. I mean, I'd like to see them do some of the bad, you know what I mean? But when they say it like that, you know what I mean, you're very, very skeptical, very skeptical about things like that, you know what I mean? So,
And you know what I think as well, one last thing is, if these young people had actually like things to do in the day and think, you know, productive things to do, they wouldn't want to waste their time walking with a knife. They'd be in work or at their hobby, or, you know, doing something productive that's going to take up that time.
yeah. So there's no answer. There's no answer. It's like a question we just keep beating our head at. And you dread for you want somebody to come up with a constructive plan and say yes. You know what I mean? We can't seem to have it, can we? No, with all the brains out there and the so-called educated people out there and the people with all the common sense and we can't seem to get an answer. And it makes you wonder if it's just a cultural thing now. Is it embedded in our system?
I mean, I hope not, because I've got a son. He's 10 years old.
I know.
And I don't want him thinking when he grows up he has to walk with a knife and his friends are walking with knives, and that's just like the in thing to do.
Yeah.
No.
They call it protection, and we're not saying it is a good thing, but it just makes you wonder what's happening. We see so much, and there's been quite a few. There's been quite a few this week. You know what I mean? There's been quite a few in the last couple of weeks. It just seems to be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Guys, put a comment on the screen. What do you think about knife crime? It'd be good to hear your feedback. Let me move on. My London. Got a story from My London. Now, a Met police officer, he's been in court, and Lawrence Knight is allegedly raped this lady. And it actually took place on Brighton Beach. And he actually met this lady. He was on his stag night, and he actually met this lady. And they sort of, you know, went for a swim. But before they went for a swim, there was actually about what you call in their underwear. So they went off in their underwear, and she laughed. They went off in their underwear, and he allegedly raped her in the sea. Wow. Well, in the sea, not on the beach, but in the sea. Now, why he raped her? Why? And after his stag night, it's not funny. Why he raped her after his stag night? Um, his mates, after he done all the, after the incident happened, his mate then says his name is actually Lawrence Knight. He says Larry, call him Larry. Larry for short. That's his nickname. Larry. Larry apologized. Now, why would you apologize if and we're not here to try anybody here. Why would you apologize? Why do you send your mate to apologize if you didn't do anything naughty?
Well, Carl, I think the story goes from bad to worse. Number one, he's on his stag night.
Yes.
That means that he's about to get married.
Yes.
So you're already cheating
Interesting.
on your fiance,
Interesting.
right?
Well, I've heard some of these stuff that can be. Come on, we live in the real world.
No,
we
that's
have,
no,
come on, we will.
that's
I mean,
no
I'm not saying we heard of what some of these stuff that can be like.
But still.
I understand what you're saying.
So I don't know what happened, but
No.
if he is apologising, then, you know, if you've
He's-
not done anything wrong,
He said he's made to apologize.
why would you apologise?
I don't know.
So what happened? Did you
Well,
get arrested?
no, well, he's in court. This is where the story is coming from. He's in court, so this is how we know what is actually going on. The trial hasn't finished, but it's in the papers. It's everywhere. You know what I mean, so it doesn't mean you can't comment about it.
So
So
I wonder if his fiance left him. Or
I
if he's
don't know.
sticking by
No,
him.
well, we won't know that until
He'd be getting the boot.
no. We won't know that until the case finished. You know what I mean? So until he's been tried, whether he's been found guilty or not guilty or whatever's going on. So we won't know the outcome. We're still waiting for the outcome, you see.
Okay.
But I like your point saying he's cheating, isn't it? We gotta talk about cheating later. You remember I tell you we're gonna talk about cheating. 1 in 4 they say, 1 in 4 people. I look at the survey, they say 1 in 4 people. Is that it? Yeah. But you gotta be very careful when you're cheating. Now, let me move to Jamaica. Now, a Jamaica woman was actually what they call executed. She was shot in the head. Greenwich Town, Kingston. And Manjula Stewartson. She was in her yard, and all her friends was in her yard, and it's reported a gunman come up and shoot her in the head, execute her in the head. And none of the other people in the yard was hurt. None of the other people in the yard got shot. Only she. She actually got shot several times in the head. And once again, we see this again. And we say big condolence to her family. This happened last week, Thursday. But we weren't here last week to report it. So we say big condolences to the family. And when you see things like that happen, it's just absolutely crazy.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. And while I'm staying with Jamaica, I must give you the warning, Jamaica, the Caribbean. Now I must give you the warning because I actually came across this just before I come on here. Now, midday news. According to midday news, a tropical storm Brett could threaten Jamaica, and Jamaicans are urged to monitor tropical storm, which is called Brett. It could cause a lot of damage. So there's a storm on its way. I don't know if it will blow up before it reaches Jamaica, but it's coming up. It's coming up from, that side of the islands and headed towards Jamaica. It's coming from the east, coming west. So that is one to look out for, yeah? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Yes. Now, what do you think of you must have heard some of the crimes in Jamaica. What do you think about it? You must have heard some of this. What do you think?
I think it's really, really sad, to be honest.
I'm not saying there's not crime everywhere, but I always say
it's extreme.
what worries me is like what worries me about is like we are Jamaican descendants, we're Caribbean descendants. I mean, it's like you say things in Haiti as well. You know what I mean? We see a lot of crazy things going on in Haiti, and we're descendants from the Caribbean. You know what I mean? When you see things like that, it's like somebody in your family, and you understand? That's how close it is to me, and that's how close we feel about it. It's like somebody in your family fighting all the damn time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I think it's really sad, to be honest. And, you don't hear about that side when it comes to Jamaica. You hear about, the tourist side and
Yes.
the beach and,
Yes.
the white people going over and enjoying our culture. And the behind the scenes side,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fuckery. I don't know if I could swear. But there is a lot of bad things that are going on over there. And yeah, why do you think the violence is so extreme? Because they have machetes and it's just very
Well, I think
animalistic.
I think in the 70s something went out of control, And all the bad man who was from the Yardy days in the 70s who guard these friggin' these politicians, because these politicians used to have a lot of guards, didn't, and they used to have all these guys that they go around with. And when all these politicians give up these guys, or these guys fall out with these politicians, the trouble starts spreading, and then people start doing what we call the Capitate syndrome. Also, I think a lot of, I've said this many times, and also the culture, I think some of the culture of the music, you know what I mean, mainly like in the dancehall music, the culture, what they're saying, cut this boy short, shoot him in the head, knife him. Lyrics like that is nasty lyrics. I love the music. I'm a big reggae fan. I'm a big dancehall fan. But some of the lyrics is slackness. And you got some of these stars as well, you know what I mean? They portray this sort of violence in the music. And as I say many times, if you portray violence in music, people will always copy it. Or people will always do something about it. I've said it many times. James Brown says, I am black and I'm proud. A lot of people follow that. You understand? When James Brown come out and said, if you got people singing, I'm going to kill this man, I'm going to cut this man's throat, I'm going to shoot this man.
It's going to pour out into real life.
People is going to follow that trend.
Yeah.
People, it's not a trend, but some people is going to pick up on it. Some people got mental issues. Some people very poor. Some people's got different things, you know what I mean, that's going on with them. So some people, not everybody, some people will pick up on it. You know what I mean? And most of us is not going to pick up on it. It's just the few is going to pick up on it. But some people is going to pick up on it. And like a lot of these bigger artists, what I call bigger artists, they should actually set a good example. And I said many times, Jamaica is a small island. And most Jamaicans are related. Most Jamaicans are related from somewhere along the line. You know what I mean? And they're still screwing each other. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can leave your comments. I'm going to tell you why I say most Jamaicans are related in a bit, because I'm coming to a story that's going to blow your socks off. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. We talk about Windrush. Now, the Windrush celebration is actually started. Yes. 22nd of June, which will be tomorrow, 2023. Marks the 75th year of the Windrush arrive. The passengers, I should say, arrive in the United Kingdom. I don't know why they call it the Windrush celebration. I keep saying why they call it Windrush celebration. This was a damn ship.
It should be the reparation
celebration. Yes, if you come on a ship, why do you want to call it the Windrush? I know people's gonna have a go at me for that. Why are you gonna call it when the train that the Jews escaped from in Germany? They didn't use the name of the train. So why the hell my people use the Windrush, the damn ship? But that's just my point of view. Something to think about. As I say, the wonderful celebration of those wonderful people who did so much for this country, who actually came and helped to rebuild the country after World War II. We celebrate them, but we're not celebrating the damn ship. Yeah? Talk to me, girl. Talk to me.
No, I completely agree, to be honest. And I think these people, their families, their descendants, should be getting some reparations.
Okay.
You know, I'm all for hearing the reparations talk, to be honest. I'd rather that than just one day of celebration and then our people are still in poverty.
Yeah. Well, so it is celebrating the 75 years of these people traveling, you know what I mean? But we're not celebrating the ship. You know what I mean? The ship, I think the ship was an old damn German ship anyway.
But what did those people, what did those people's families have to celebrate 75 years later?
Interesting. That is a very interesting question. And considering a lot of the Windrush generation has suffered so badly, I think what basically they're celebrating the people who actually comes. That's bottom line for me. They're actually celebrating the people who actually came and the generation of people who actually generated from those people, you know what I mean? And the stuff those people who actually done, you know what I mean, for this country and helping this country to become where it is, you know what I mean? Because as one of my guests speak a couple of weeks ago in a book, and she says, British soldiers didn't come to the UK after they finished in World War One. After they finished in World War II, they didn't come back to their country to go back and work into factories or go and drive buses because they've had enough of the damn war. So they needed people to work. Hence, they recruited, can you come and work for us? And a lot of people who at that time from the Caribbean and from Jamaica actually came and worked and helped, you know what I mean, to do jobs that a lot of those people who had gone to war wasn't going to come back from war and do it anyway. You know what I mean? So, and as I say, it is just to celebrate that. And all those people who, you know what I mean, all those people, and the original people, I think there's only a very, very few of those people actually left. Now alive now up to date, 75 years. So a lot of people came. A lot of those people came from when they was 18 in their early 20s. You know what I mean? So as you say, a lot of those people are quite old people now, and I think there's only very, very few of those people are died. But a lot of people, we're celebrating the descendants from all those people. You know what I mean? And and what they've actually left. Yes, you're saying.
Do you know what springs to mind? A few years ago, weren't they trying to send people back?
Yeah, well, that is what you call it. That is called a Windrush scandal.
The Windrush scandal.
Yeah, that is called a Windrush. That came up in the not too long ago. I actually talk about it, and that came about because a lot of these people who came here, some of them, they was British citizens anyway. You know what I mean? They came to this country as British citizens, and a lot of their children came on as British citizens. Now, when they get to the country, they could come as British citizens and come on British pass and come on what we call the British Empire passport, because Jamaica and most of the Caribbean was owned by Britain anyway, right. So Britain see it as their land and their country. Yeah. Yes. So you could come on this passport. So when you come on this passport, or you're working in this country and all you're doing what you're doing, all of a sudden they change the rules. And they say, oh, you're not British anymore. You know what I mean? So a lot of those people got caught up in what you call the Windrush scandal, and they start deporting them for different reasons. They make it up as they go along. They start deporting them for different reasons. Oh, you're not British, and some of them lose their house, some of them lose their job, and some of them lose a lot of different things. That is the best way I can sort of explain it without, because this is a long thing. You know what I mean? It's a long thing. I would need 2 programs to explain the whole. But that's the basic outcome of it.
Well, you see, I focus more on those things than one day of celebration, and then it's like you're just brushing everything under the carpet. But is the problem actually solved?
No, the problem hasn't solved, because a lot of people is trying to get their compensation for who's been deported. Right. You know what I mean? And the government who actually started the damn scandal, the government say, oh, we made a mistake. This is what we actually made a mistake, and we are going to compensate a lot of these people, and this still hasn't happened.
Not surprised.
Very, very. I should say then, some people maybe get a little of the money, you know, but very, very few people got it. And some people has even died waiting for this money. And I know a lady from Wolverhampton, I know a special lady that actually talked to on radio from Wolverhampton, who actually died trying to get this so-called compensation.
That's so sad. Let's just say rest in peace to that lady.
Yes, yes. So it is a massive scandal, you know what I mean? So it is a very, 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 very strange one. Yes. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe to the program. And remember, let me know what you think about the Windrush celebration and the Windrush generation. Now, a lot of you will not like what I say, but I only deal with common sense, and I only talk it as it is. Tell me there's no common sense in that, and I'll listen. Yes. What do you think?
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me move on. Let me say, you see that call? Now, reggae veteran dance. Mr. Max Romeo. No, Max Romeo had this big tune back in the day. I think it was like in the late 60s, I should say this tune was called. And it was called, the tune was called Wet Dream.
Oh,
now,
wow.
He actually said, and he was talking to Dancehall Magazine, and he actually said, when the tune came up, he actually didn't want to do the tune. And Bonnie Striker Lee actually forced him to do the tune. And the tune actually went 25 weeks in the British charts. Yes. I said it was 1969, 25 weeks in the British charts. And it's actually topped the charts at number 10. And it's the most successful song he had as a solo artist. And then he keeps doing like, you know, more sexually seductive songs with all this sexy thing in it going on. And then he says, you know, slap and wallop. One day he decided, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to go to culture, because I got children and I got grandchildren. I don't want to leave a catalog like this for my grandchildren. So he changed. And Max Romeo was in London a couple of weeks ago at a big festival. You know what I mean? So that's what the legendary Max Romeo have actually said.
I love that integrity.
Yes, it's good, isn't it? Yes, right. Guys, all of you who like Max Romeo, let me say big shout out to you. Chichi Bodo. Someone never holla, someone ball. Let me move on. Now, my next story is like Stevie and Clevie. Now, Stevie and Clevie, the legendary Mr. Stevie and Clevie, Jamaican producer. Now, they've actually bring a case to courts in the United States, and they've actually been pushing for their rights or their copyrights. However, a judge in California, 3 judges in California, has actually said they're not happy with that, and they're not going to sort of get the rights that they actually need. And they're talking about the 1989 rhythm. And the 1989 rhythm, it is almost the rhythm that makes about 1,700 reggaeton. You know the reggaeton, when we talk about the reggaeton rhythm, it's the reggaeton song. So they say it's about 1,700 rhythm is actually made. However, the judge also say it's commonplace and it's not subject to copyright. So I think that case is very, very heavy. And according to the musical elements of the song, it doesn't belong. The copyright doesn't belong to anybody. So it doesn't look like that is going to happen. The case isn't finished yet, but the case isn't looking very good for Stevie and Clevie, you know what I mean, to receive ownership or copyright of some of those great rhythms that they actually made. And their rhythm but some of the rhythm they made has gone into, like Drake has used the rhythm. A lot of artists have used their rhythm, you know what I mean, over the last 30 years, you know what I mean. So it's one of those sad ones again. So we'll see how that goes. And say the case is not finished yet, but it's one of those ones. Now, let me move on. Now, Jamaican lady, Leonie Forbes. Leonie Forbes has donated to the National Library of Jamaica 200 pieces of her archives. Now, I'll say she's an actress, she's a broadcaster, and she's an educator. And she died on the 14th of June, 2022. She was born 1937, and I say she died that particular time. And I say it's one of those things. But all her archives, a lot of 200 pieces of her archives will actually go to the National Museum of Jamaica, which is actually marvelous. Now, you remember I was saying like all Jamaicans are related. Now, this lady, let me see where I'm going with this. This lady, her name is Forbes. Her last name is Forbes. My grandmother was Forbes. One of my grandmother, her last name was Forbes. And I don't know any more Forbes. That's what I'm trying to say. So you see, all Jamaica. And I'm not connected to her. I have got no proof of me connected to her. But she's a Forbes. That's why I say most Jamaicans are actually related. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Wonderful what that lady's actually. A
distant cousin.
Well, yeah, much more distance. Now, finally, let's deal with Boris Johnson now. Because I told you about my rant now. Now, my rants about Boris Johnson is like, I heard a lot of people say this, and I heard a lot of people say that, and a lot of people say he should be sorry for. Now, and a lot of people come in and supported, you know what I mean, after he lied. Now, I'm going to tell you a thing about this guy. This guy had, he had the things with David Cameron, and he had this thing with Theresa May, what was going on, and he come to power. He come to power with one of the highest majority in this country. He has been in power for 4 years. When you come to power with that sort of majority, you have to be in power for 4 years and take it to the next stage. What did he do? Some people say he delivered Brexit. I don't know if about that. Okay, he may have stopped some of the things that's going on, you know what I mean, or whatever he delivered. He also promised he was going to give us the trade deal with America. We're still waiting for the trade deal from America. We also see the COVID, how the COVID turns out. He didn't cause the COVID, but it's happened. And the biggest thing is when the COVID was going on, we was all in lockdown, while Mr. Boris Johnson and his colleagues was all dancing around in the party gate. So that is another cock-up he's actually made. Yeah. This is a guy, as I say, who has had the majority. He should have taken the country to a next level. We see our gas bills, our electricity bills, all our bloody bills is going up. We see also fighting with his mates, because most of the time he spends fighting with his buddies or his brethren. Can I say brethren? Yes, he's fighting with his brethren. Well, how can he spend most of his time fighting with the brethren when you should have been running the damn country? So,
No, carry on.
Now, I was actually reading in the Guardian. One person in the Guardian says he should be damn locked up. No, I don't know if that's too far. You know what I mean? He should be locked up because he's disgraced this country. He's one of the worst prime minister in this country has ever had, and I'm not the one who said that. He messed up our country, and now. I mean, after he went, then let me put my book down. After he went, we have least when nobody else got him out of power. His own brethren got him out of power. Nobody else. He wasn't voted or whatever. He was voted in power, but his own brethren got him out of power. You must remember these things, people. Remember these things. His own brethren voted him out of power. Then when his own brethren voted him out of power, he then let's have Liz Truss. Now Liz Truss the new PM lasts for about 44 days. She laughed. She lasts for 44 days. So Rishi Sunak was there. They didn't choose Rishi Sunak, so they choose Liz Truss over Rishi Sunak, right? Then Liz Truss lasts for about 44 days. Then they have to go back and then think, oh my days now, this is not working out. You know what I mean? What is it? They always say a woman can be worse than a man. Talk to me there. And I'm not being sexist here.
I have no comment on that.
I'm not being sexist here. A woman can't do worse than a man. Well, our friend Liz Truss did. You know what I mean? I'm going to say that. Liz Truss did. And then it winds up. Well, now this is the parties still fighting with each other, right? We're not getting our bills reduced. We see starvation in our country. We see food banks in our country. You know what I mean? They're not sorting this out. They're fighting amongst themselves, right? So, lo and behold now, Liz Truss, can't have Liz Truss. So, Liz Truss went away, and then, Boris and Richard Sunak now is coming back again. Boris is in the Caribbean. He's dashing back. The Grand Old Duke of York coming back again, right? So he's coming back to be run for Prime Minister again. After all the mess he's made. Now, where's the common sense in that? So I think so. Finally, then Richard Sunak. Richard Sunak. He decided, okay, I don't think I'm gonna get it, but Richard Sunak got it. But I said, this guy. The main thing I want to say about this guy, he literally had it. He had it good, and he pissed it up the wall. And he's ruined part of this country. He's ruined a lot of this country because a lot of people have suffered. And they say he's got the biggest majority in this country. And a lot of people have suffered because of him. Leave your comments. I'm done.
Okay, I'm thinking you want me to add something. Do you know what I think, right?
What do you think?
If Boris Johnson had been brought up on, let's say, a housing estate,
Yeah.
in the ghetto, universal credit, I think he would have taken his job a lot more seriously, but because he's not from that type of world,
Yeah.
I don't think he really understood.
But what they do then, they convince you that they are. And a lot of people voted for them because they convince you. The people get brainwashed and think, oh, they're just like us, you know. They're just like us. And they're not like us.
Did you know that David Cameron's ancestors were slave owners?
Yes, but when they go out in the streets, you know, when they're looking for votes, you know, when they're looking for my votes, they say, oh, I'm just like you, you know, I know what you feel. I've been through the same thing.
Well, do you know what, right? I'm 31 years old, and I can confidently and unashamedly say that I've never voted.
Yeah, you never voted.
And I think a lot of my generation, we don't vote because we don't believe in anything that they say.
And that is a problem, and that is actually a problem, and that's been going on for a long, long time. And because what they've done, then they haven't given you the confidence. I got no confidence in you voting for them, or they haven't given you the zest to say, you know, this is a good person, and this is what I'm going to do. This is what they can do for me or my family or the rest of the country.
Exactly.
I don't just deal in the family or the me thing. You know what I mean? I don't like the me thing. It's together, everybody. What they can do for the whole community, what they can do for the whole country. You know what I mean? I don't believe in the individual thing. You hear when they do the budget, people are saying, oh, I'm going to be £1 better off. Just me going to be £1 better off. I don't buy that crap. I believe what they can do for everybody.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's what, but when they go out and preach, you know what I mean, they say, oh, with this and with that, and we know what you're feeling, you know, I've been there, I've done this, I've done this. I used to believe in a one room once.
But they never deliver.
No, they never deliver, which is absolutely crazy. You know, which is actually a crazy thing. And I understand why your generation of people too younger says they don't want to vote. And I would say people to vote, because I always feel, what I do say about people, I always feel that, you know what I mean, voting where, and I'm talking from the American point of view, chat too much tonight. I always feel from the American point of view, basically the African American had to fight damn hard to get the vote. There was a time when they couldn't vote, you know what I mean? There was a time when people in South Africa couldn't vote, you know what I mean? When South Africa was doing all the kind of nasty racist thing, when they couldn't vote, when people of color didn't have a vote,
Right.
you know what I mean? So that's my disagreement with when people say they don't have a vote. People have died for that vote. People are British, African, Caribbean, African American, Africans, descendants, people has died trying to get that vote. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just like how how women fight for different things over the years, and women couldn't get it. Well, people actually fight and died for that vote. So that's why I actually say you should vote. You know what I mean?
But my thing is, what are they going to do with that vote? Like, my vote is precious. I'm not just going. I'd rather keep my vote and use that to something that's going to help me or my community.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like me putting my vote to these political people is going to pour anything back into my community.
I understand that as well. I totally agree with you. I don't disagree in one word what you say. I just show you the points.
No, I completely get what you're saying,
why I
though.
believe in the vote.
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you're saying, but I actually have to show you the point.
Yeah.
As I say, people have died. You know what I mean? Fighting back in the day, like the African American. You know what I mean? You couldn't vote, you couldn't do this, you couldn't go on that bus, you couldn't ride on that bus. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how America was. Some part of it is still like that today. You know, so that's why I say, you know what I mean? If you get the chance to vote, because people have died. People like, you know what I mean, the great fight that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. have to do, you know what I mean? People like Malcolm X, you know what I mean? So, and they have to do all those sort of fighting. So, so that's why I say I sort of, you know what I mean? You should do your vote.
Well, I'll think about it.
Right, guys, now let me ask you, let me move on. Now, they reckon 1 in 4 people cheats on their in their marriage. 1 in 4 people cheats in their marriage, right? Now, it also says, I looked at a survey, a general survey actually looked at, so general social survey. Now, as I say, 1 in 4 people actually cheat in their marriage. They also says, not me actually, does men cheat more than women, or does women cheat more than men?
Honestly, I don't know.
You don't know. What would you say then? What's the common zest out there?
From what I've heard,
Yes.
men cheat more than women,
Yes.
but women just don't get caught. So I don't actually know.
You don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't actually know.
So men cheat more than women, that women don't actually get caught. Why do you think the women don't get caught?
Because I think women are a little bit more
Are you just-
manipulative. We're a bit more calculated.
because you got some naive men who think the women won't do that.
Well, I don't think men, they're quite impulsive. Men, you know, they think, not all men, I'm not saying, I don't want to generalise, but I think a lot of men, they're quite shallow.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'll see a pretty girl and let's say they're at home with their wife and she's going to bed in her bonnet and no makeup, you know, big nightgown. And then they see a woman and she's putting on lingerie, makeup, fresh hairstyle. You know, he's probably going to be swayed a little bit if he's not committed to his wife through the good and the bad times.
Right, in a survey, 495 people. They surveyed 495 people. Now, what do you think are the reason why people get for cheating?
I think people can just be very selfish.
Well, I got a couple of things for you.
They want the cake and they want to eat it.
They want to get lack of esteem,
Lack of esteem.
low commitment,
Okay, yeah.
need variety,
Selfish.
neglect,
Okay, but communication is key.
sexual desire, and different circumstances. Now,
Okay.
that is what the report actually says. Now, they also report now frustration in marriage. This is when you're married. Yeah, frustration in the marriage is a common trigger for cheating. Yeah,
Right.
and in a survey, the general social survey that came, and the data shows now women from 18 to 29 cheat more than men. So age has got a lot to do with it. Women from 18 to 29 cheat more than men.
Okay.
The percentage is about 11%. And of women who actually cheat, which is about 10% for men.
Right.
Now,
But
men,
only 1% more.
but it's not.
It's only one more.
That was quick. I thought you were gonna let that slip by.
I called it.
Now, men from 30 to 39, they cheat 14%.
Okay.
Yeah, women are 11, 12, 13. What is that? 3.
3.
Right, so
Yeah.
3. So they cheat even more. Now, the biggest, what actually came across the survey, men in their 60s also has a high fidelity rate.
Okay.
Yes. Now, women in their 60s or 50s and 60s, they actually seem their cheating gets more as they get older.
Really?
The 60s, in the 60s, the 50s and the 60s group, they seem to get, more. They seem to cheat more.
Well, I've not been married yet, but do you think that has something to do with the neglect? What you said, like just being in the marriage for so long and feeling.
Yeah. You mean they get more than the 7-year itch?
Well,
they got more than the 7-year itch.
are you married?
No.
No, you don't. I wanted your perspective. But no, I mean, I don't know, because from what I've heard, marriage is hard work. You
Yes.
know, it's not easy. You have to go through a lot of battles. You have to have a good communication, especially when things are going wrong. And sometimes if you don't have good communication, then you might think that little bit of temptation on the side is what's going to help.
Yeah.
But
And
it doesn't.
it doesn't. And the other thing as well, like 70 to 79, I mean, it's like 24% of people that is sort of cheating. And with women, it's about 16% of women in their 60s is actually cheat. So it's quite high there.
Wow.
So it is. Well, Anna said this is a survey I've been looking at. The survey is quite old, so it's probably worse. From
Yeah.
what the figures are probably worse than what I have actually given you, because the survey, with a survey like that, they're just going to do it like every couple of years. The survey is about 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Okay.
after that, it's probably a lot worse than what it is now.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What do you think about polygamy? So instead of cheating, you just have 2, 3 different partners that all know about each other.
No.
Because then at least
No.
you don't have to hide
No,
and
no.
cheat and creep.
So you have 2, 3 different partners who knows about each other.
I mean, I feel like that would be better than cheating.
Serious.
Yeah.
Interested.
Because at least everybody knows that, there's no keeping secret.
You must shot me there. That's a strange one.
I mean, I would rather
Yes.
not be cheated on
Yes.
and know what was going on. So
Yes.
at least I had a choice
So-
whether I wanted to stay or not.
Yes, sir.
Because I feel like it would hurt more to know I've invested my life into this person, this one person, place all my eggs in a basket,
And you get cheated on.
and then, yeah,
And you get cheated on.
that's when a person will go crazy, That's
Yeah,
when,
but the trouble is, cheating has
cheating.
always been there from beginning of time anyway.
Has
It's always been there from from the era of zero. You know what I mean? And we can go back. You can go back to a time when men used to have more than one wives.
so that's polygamy.
That's polygamy, isn't
Yeah.
it? Men used to have more than one wives. When you go back in time, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. But the thing about cheating as well, I think, and when you're like if you're cheating and you're sexually involved, the thing about it, you have to be careful what you catch.
Right.
So we're talking from a health well-being now, you know what I mean?
And even like getting them pregnant. As
yeah,
well.
yeah, and that's when having children, you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
have to be so
Careful.
if you go into that sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Keep it in your pants. Just go be faithful.
When is that keep it in your pants? You sound like that's directly to the man. I'm sure women's got pants as well.
I don't know.
Well, that's the term I'm going to use.
No.
What do you think then? What do you think?
I mean, I feel like if you've committed yourself to somebody,
Yes.
then you're doing yourself a disjustice.
When you cheat, yeah.
When cheating,
I-
you might as well just say, I'm not happy.
Yeah, and
break
I
the
totally agree.
relationship.
I totally agree. I don't believe once you commit yourself to somebody, you should go cheating on them anyway. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? How would you feel then if you was with somebody and they cheated on you? How would you feel? And you find out.
Well, it actually did happen to me.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yes. Let me,
I can speak from personal experience.
okay, elaborate then if you want to.
So I was dating this man,
Yes.
and a year into the relationship,
Yeah.
I found out that he actually had 2 women pregnant.
You mad?
Yeah, so he'd
Yeah, it's two different women.
2 different women pregnant, and I found out that he had children. So I asked him, because my son started to go to his son's school.
Oh my
So
days.
his son and my son were friends. So
Okay.
one day my son's come home and he's like, "Mom, you know such and such has got a younger sister and brother." So I'm like, "What?" So I phoned the man. He's like, "Siobhan, I think I need to come and see you face to face." So I already knew, okay,
Oh,
this is
dear.
getting serious now.
Yeah.
So yes, he came and saw me and he admitted, yes, he had these children. And one of the ladies that he'd had the children with was actually his long-term
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
So I was actually
Sorry,
not even the main one.
You was the bit on the
I
side.
wasn't even. I didn't even know where I fell on the totem pole, but honestly, it was.
The bit on the side.
It,
Sorry.
but no,
I'm sorry.
But you know what? Yeah, it just showed me that men can be very, very good at hiding
Yeah.
their extracurriculum activities, and you'd just be none the wiser.
I don't think it's just men alone. I don't have to say that from the men corner. I think it's just once you're in such a situation where you're cheated, I think both people, you know what I mean, both people's doing it. You know what
Okay,
I
so
mean? It's very good at what they're doing.
So he was a Jamaican.
That's got nothing to do with it.
No, let's talk about this
Don't blame
now.
me for that.
Seeing as you want to call me a bit on the side,
Don't
let's
bla-
talk
don't
about
bla-
this.
Don't blame me for that now.
Because I feel like in Jamaican culture, it's seen as acceptable to have multiple women, but not be honest about having multiple women. What do you think about that?
I don't think so. But let me also sling this by you then.
Yeah.
Most of the people that's in this country who are, say, Jamaicans are born in this country. So they're already locked into this country. So how can you go to Jamaica and blame the Jamaican culture for all these people who's locked into the country, which they see on the television all the time, which they get influenced by the British television or the American television or the same shit that goes on the television that get influenced. So how can you blame it for our Jamaican people?
Because they might be born in England, but they're still locked into the culture.
But if they
Jamaica.
never go there, you're talking about guys who's very, very few now. Most of the people in this country are born in this country. You got second generation, third generation. They're big guys in the 50s and 60s. They're born in this country. So you can't blame that as a Jamaican culture.
Well, he actually wasn't born in this country.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I can
Yeah.
take that part. But for you to say, like, you know, it's like a Jamaican culture. As I say, most of the guys now, you know what I mean? Most of the guys are people.
Well, you don't want to admit it, but it is true.
No.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with you. I totally
It is
disagree.
true.
But most of the people now, what you're saying, when the people say that, most of the people, they're born in this country. Come on, check it out. How old are you?
I'm 31.
You're 31. So you're 31 and your generation, most of your generation is born in this country. And probably some of you people in your generation are cheating. Any? And then you got the level above you also, the level above you, the people above you, both born in this country. So you can't blame that on a different culture. This is what they actually grow up and see, and they mix around with each other.
Well, you know what?
And something.
We can go back to what you were saying about the songs and the shooting, because a lot of the Jamaican songs, these bashment dancehall songs, it's just all about sex and cheating and side chick and matey and wifey and things, and that goes into the culture.
Yeah, but you also got the American culture.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Which is really big. You see all the Americans guys wrap around with the girls in the short skirt and the this and the that and the, you know what I mean, and the you know, jerking up all the things. which is the big thing in the hip hop thing. So that is also listen. When we talk about music from anywhere, different culture will always influence you, no matter where you're from. So you can't just blame. And I'm not defending because I'm, you know what I mean, from that descendants. You can't just blame that for what you actually said.
Well, my experience. So when I pulled him up about it, this was his explanation, his justification for cheating.
Yeah, what was it?
It was that we're all animals.
Right.
And in the animal world, you know, he wanted to say, in the animal
he
world,
wanted more wife.
with the lions, you know, you have one lion and many lionesses and blah de blah de blah. And I was like, mate, you gotta go.
What did you say?
I kicked him to the curb and carried on about my nice positive life.
I can see some women out there saying, "Good on you, girl."
Yes, but no, honestly, it was a big experience, I guess, because I just wouldn't have thought that he would do that. So it just made me see that some people just, that's what they do.
Yeah, I understand that, but I gotta say, all cultures, no matter where you're from, all cultures cheat. I mean, so I don't think one culture cheats more than another culture. Another culture might sing about it more, you know what I mean, and you may see it in more music. But I gotta say, all cultures, you know what I mean, whether you're European, whether you're African American or where from, you might say more. If you say that, then you're gonna say more black men cheat more. I don't like to say more Nubian men cheat more than Caucasian men, which is total bullshit. I'm not saying that, you know what I mean. So everybody cheats, you know what I mean, because the circumstances of cheating, you know what I mean. You don't know what the circumstances of cheating. It's not because some people, wherever you are, I mean, come on. You see those European guys when they leave England and they go on a holiday, Ibiza, the whole Ibiza thing. A lot of those guys are Europeans or English guys. Yeah. And they go over Ibiza and they do this and they do that and they do all this kind of thing. They're doing it as well.
Do you know what I think as well?
And we got all this, and the other funny, we got all these silly soap things, what you call Love Island and all this. Yeah. That's all just encouraging the whole damn thing anyway.
I definitely agree. I think this society is what I call the throwaway society. Yeah. Like, you'll be in a relationship and then as soon as they do one thing wrong, because you've got option A, option B, option C, you're like, you're too much hard work. Let me just go to Tanisha or Carisha or Manisha.
Or Simone.
Or Simone. Yeah, instead of fixing things with Lucy.
You've got to fight there. It's patience, and it's patience, and it's probably. I think the media, no matter what you say, I think the media I think the media's got a lot, it's influenced a lot of stuff, you know what I mean, that actually happens in what we call the throwaway culture. You know what I mean? Yeah. What do you think?
No, I definitely agree, and I think me personally, this is why I'm just really focused on my career. And I was going to ask you then, would that put you off? You've had an experience done. Did it put you off dating? It did, It actually did. It took me a while to heal because I just, when you just don't see something coming, I just didn't see it coming. So I thought to myself, instead of... Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
I thought to myself...
No, listen, I'm listening to what you're saying.
I thought to myself, instead of just jumping into another relationship, go and focus on productive things. And my dad was like, Siobhan, the more that you bring to your own table, the better type of men that you'll meet. So that's what I've been doing.
Okay, great. Tell us a little bit more about business and tell us about your dolls that you've got there and all the rest of it.
Okay, I did actually bring some of my...
Before we wind the program up.
Dollies. So, this is my black doll. She's called Naya. Look in this camera. She's called Naya.
Okay, hello Naya.
Yes. So this is named after my niece. So this is the first doll in the collection. And then our second doll is Hannah.
Okay.
You see her?
And what kind of doll is she? What is she? Who you represented off?
She represents just the European doll. She's like just a white.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have Kendi, who is our Chinese doll.
Okay.
And then we're currently working on our Muslim prototype. So yeah, it's really exciting, to be honest. We're in talks with Smiths to be stocked in store. We just did a pop-up with Tesco. We did a little display in Virgin Money as well last week. So I'm just trying to keep building and, do something big with the business.
Marvelous. You got a website? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so
where can we find you? Where can we find you?
You can find us on Instagram at Inspire a Doll, and also our website is www.inspireadoll.com.
And where are you hoping to? I said, where are you hoping to take this?
So I would love to see more representation of black dolls in stores, like the Entertainer, Smiths, B&M, Argos, places like that. And I'd love to have an animation as well on the TV.
Marvellous. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Siobhan, I've got to start wrapping up the program. Let me say thank you for coming into the show.
Okay, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
It's been fun. You'll come back again.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you wanted to talk about. The princess.
Meghan Markle. Yeah.
I know you want to talk about it
next time.
Quickly. What do you think of Meghan Markle?
I just feel really sorry for her, to be honest. I feel like she's been demonized.
Okay then. Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Right, guys. I need to wind it up. Let me say thanks to Siobhan for coming to the program. Wonderful lady. As you see, once again, we have fun.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Don't forget, guys, to like, share, and subscribe. Mr. Gabby down in Jamaica, let me say big shout out to you. Helen, how you doing? Cousin Girlene, big shout out to you and all your family up there in the United States. All my family in Jamaica, United States, Canada, let me say big shout out to you. My time is run out. I can't call all your name. Tyrone, Hector, big shout out to you. Yes, we are still here. And to say thank you for tuning into Breakthrough TV once again. My time is almost there. Catch us another again next week with another program with What's on Your Mind with another very special guest. Good afternoon. Enjoy. Don't forget to share the program. Leave your comments. God bless. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Big shout out to you, sir. Siobhan, good afternoon.
Take care, everyone. Bye.